My name is Danielle. I'm a first year physician assistant student at the University of Toronto, and welcome to my very first vlog. So I'm sure most of you have found this video through my blog where I've been documenting my journey through PA school. And I was inspired by a YouTube channel that I found a few months ago called Violin MD. She's a first year internal medicine resident at McMaster, and she's essentially documenting her journey through residency, through vlogs, and I found it really interesting and also really inspiring. So that's why I'm going to be starting this vlog to show you guys what it's like to be a PA student. So for those of you who don't know, the U of T PA program is a little bit different with its setup. So the first 12 months of the program is called the didactic year, which is essentially also referred to as the book study year. So we do a lot of our learning through lectures, through reading, through things like that. And then our second year is clinical year, where we go on rotations through all the major specialties, and then we have 2 electives. So the didactic year of this program is a bit different in that it's split up into online versus in-person chunks, and this is called distance education. So for the online portions of this program, you can be anywhere you want in Ontario. You can be living in your hometown, you can be living in Toronto, you can technically even take a trip across the world, even though nobody does, but you can be anywhere because everything is delivered online. And then for the in-person part of the program, everybody needs to be in Toronto, and we have class every day, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for a certain amount of time. So just a brief overview of the schedule. By the way, all this information can be found on the U of T PA program website. So these in-person blocks of time are called residential blocks. The first residential block, so that means we're all in person in Toronto, is in September. Then we have our first online block, which is from October to the beginning of December. Then we have our second residential block, which is 2 weeks in December. And then we have the winter holidays. And then our second online block is from January to the beginning of April. That one is the longest. And then we have our third residential block, which is the last 2 weeks in April. And then we have a third online block, which is from May to the beginning of July. And then we have our final fourth residential block from mid-July to mid-August. And then we have 2 weeks of holiday before we start our second year in September. So this video is going to be documenting our third residential block. So it's April right now. We just finished our exams from our second online block. So now we have all come back to downtown Toronto, and we're going to be having class every single day. So I'm really excited to share it. So before I start showing you what the next 2 weeks is going to be like, I get asked this question all the time, and I just wanted to clarify what it's like to do these residential blocks. So I always get asked, how do you go back and forth from online to in-person to online to in-person? Do you live in Toronto full-time? Are you commuting, or what is the deal? So I thought I would just quickly explain that here. So for these residential blocks, there are essentially 3 different things you can do as a student. So the first one would be you relocate yourself to downtown Toronto for the full year. That way, whether you're online or in person, you don't have to worry about moving. You're always going to be on the downtown campus, and you're never going to have to worry about missing anything. The second thing you can do is if you live close enough, you can commute to Toronto for the residential blocks. So people who do this usually live in Mississauga or Scarborough, or somewhere where public transit is quick and easy, and it doesn't take too long to get to downtown. The program officially advises against commuting, especially over like an hour, if it takes you more than that to get to downtown, just because it takes up a lot of the time that you would need to be studying after and before class, and you can also miss things that go on after class. So, but I'm sure if you live, a 30-minute commute away, it's not that big of a deal, and people in my class do that. So the third thing you can do, which is what I do, is I live at home full time, which is about 2 hours away from Toronto. So it's too far to commute, and I don't want to live in downtown Toronto all year because I like living at home. So when it comes time that I have to be in downtown Toronto, I get some temporary housing. So for this residential block specifically, I'm renting through Airbnb. So I'm in a condo that's owned by someone who's renting it to me for 2 weeks. And that is how it works. So I did just write a blog post all about what the online portion of the program is like. So what it's like to learn medicine online, how we do classes and lectures, and how we have meetings and discussion. So all of that will be in a blog post, which I will link below. So as I've said, I'm going to be documenting in this video our third residential block, the April block. So let's get started. So it's now Monday morning at around 8:30. I'm just getting ready to go to class. Today we start at 9 o'clock and go until 4. So for the morning part of the day, we're going to have a neurology session from 9 until 12. And the first half of that session will be a lecture as well as a demonstration just regarding the neurology exam and some techniques. And then the second half of the morning will be time for us to practice what we just learned on each other. So then we will have lunch from 12 until 1, and then from 1 until 4, I believe, we're doing some more techniques regarding specimen collection and phlebotomy. So that's basically it for the day.
Just before I leave, I thought I could show you guys what I'm going to be bringing with me for today's sessions. So first and foremost is my iPad, which has all my textbooks on it. So we're going to be looking at that one, and then also this neurology handbook today. And I can also access all the notes that I took last night through my OneNote. And then since we're doing a lot of neurology and motor system, I have my reflex hammer, and I have my otoscope, and well, mostly the ophthalmoscope is what I need, and a pen light and a stethoscope, just because I feel like you can never go wrong when you have your stethoscope. So that is an overview of everything that I'm bringing.
So it's Tuesday morning. I'm just getting ready to leave. And today on the schedule is going to be very similar to yesterday, where we're going to have actually a second neurology session, which is sort of the other half of the neurology exam. So yesterday in neurology, we focused on the motor neurology exam, as well as cranial nerves and deep tendon reflexes. And today we're going to be focusing on coordination, gait, and sensory neurology examinations. So very similar to yesterday, and then we're also going to be back at the Michener Institute doing some more skills. Today, I believe, is IV insertion and injections. So should be a fun afternoon. So today is Thursday, and it's going to be a good day because it's also going to be a short day. This morning we're going to be in the lab doing some EKG stuff. So we're going to be practicing how to do an EKG and also doing some review of some of the theory and interpreting tracings and stuff like that. So it'll be a really fun morning full of cardiology. And then this afternoon we have an information session for our clinical year, so that'll be really exciting. It's coming up way faster than it feels, but it's literally around the corner. So after that we are going home. So I can't believe it's already Friday. I'm just out on my balcony enjoying some views and enjoying the sun before I head out to class. So today will be very similar to other days we've had. We're gonna continue on with our MSK session. So today we'll be focusing on the back as well as arthritis. So we're gonna have, in the same format, we're gonna have a lecture, a demonstration of some techniques, and then we're gonna practice on each other. And then later this afternoon, we're gonna have a lecture on wound management. So that should be interesting.